So this is the Hyundai Genesis G90. Those of you who follow me already know that I made a video about the new Genesis H-Track that we got. And the reason why I didn't bother waiting was because I knew it was going to take a very long time for this car to actually make it onto lots. Now the dealers have actually started getting them. Now you see this right here. I argue with people all the time because they just don't see my point of view. And the simple fact is, it's easy for me to simply dismiss them and continue to push my point of view. I'm looking at this car, I'm looking at the size of this car. Now granted, the light fixtures in my opinion they don't really stand out that much. It kind of looks generic. It looks like it wants to be something in between an Audi, something in between a Mercedes. More likely an Audi, a Mercedes, and a Lexus. But the thing about it is, I'm looking at the sheer size of this car, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, why the hell can't Lincoln and Cadillac get it right? Because even before I go in there, I already know that this thing has plenty of headroom space because I can see what the roof looks like. It's a good looking car. And if I were to take a look inside, let's look at the back seat. So when I look at this back seat, it looks like, I remember seeing this in the, what was it called? The auto show. They copied a hell of a lot from Mercedes. But the thing about it is, you might as well learn from the competition. Copied a hell of a lot from Mercedes, possibly a lot from Lexus LS 460. One thing that Hyundai cannot be accused of is of not improving. You know, they're not building generic cars. And the thing about it is, like, some people say, oh yeah, well, you don't know what you're talking about. The thing about it is, Hyundai's not building generic cars. They're building cars that are competitive. And I really feel that they understand the American market better than a whole lot of these other manufacturers do. Now, as far as headroom definitely could be a lot better. In fact, I'm having kind of the same issue with this car in the back seat that I had with the, say, the Lincoln Continental. You see my head just rubs over the top. So unless I'm slouching down, I'm not very comfortable in the back seat. Thing about it is, you know, a lot of these cars seem to have that same problem. Apparently nobody has figured out how to copy the S-Class to the point where they're actually going to build it, you know, perfectly large. So I'm a little disappointed right there. Now, can I sit in the back? I can sit in the back, but it's a little tight. My headroom is like, it's just absolutely not good. Now, granted, I'm not the average size person, but once again, it's like, strangely enough, the Genesis got it right. But if you notice, there's like a hump in this ceiling. And one thing I noticed that Car and Driver complained about was the fact that this car didn't offer a dual panel moonroof. And a dual panel moonroof is pretty much the standard pretty much in most of these cars. Because the thing about it is, the more glass and technology they give you, the easier it is to overlook a car's design flaws, if it has any. Now, here you got this, what is this, heated seats. You can move the front seat back and forward, look at that. Most cars are getting things like that when they're this size, and they have any plans to use these things for limousines. And the front seat, here you can move the front of this simultaneously. With this you can move the back pad, or you can just move the cushion itself. Okay, so that's nice. Heated seats only in the back. Don't know why they didn't have cooled seats. I guess they just didn't want to spend the money. Okay, so they got the cup holders, 12 volt, 180 watt power supply here. Got the phone number and whatnot. What is it called? The infotainment system can be used from the back. You can control that yourself here. They have a USB charger for your phone, 12 volt power right here. So they have plenty of power outlets. Leather in this car, the materials in this car, they look very good. And I've seen this before. I think they got a lot of this from BMW, because I've seen this layout before. Like, I'm looking at these, you know, the scallop designs for these seats and everything. And then these pull pads. Lexicon sound system. I always hate it when you have people who try to talk up the talking points about cars. I'm like, oh yes, well we have a Lexicon sound system. It's one of the only cars that has it other than the Rolls Royce. It's like, are you trying to compare this car with a Rolls Royce? Please stop. Just stop. Don't do that, please. You just make yourself look funny. Okay? Alright, so, oh, maybe that's the, that might be the sticker. Oh, yes, it is. This is the sticker. I'm looking at the $71,000, the price tag is people out of their mind. It's like, I mean, basically this car replaces the Equus, but still, $72,000, $71,550, that's a lot. That's a lot. You have to really love this brand name in order to buy something that costs that kind of money. Now, if you remember, I spent pretty much the same thing for a Jeep. I spent pretty much the same thing for a Hellcat. Neither one of those cars are luxury cars by any stretch of the imagination. The thing about it is they were worth every penny. So the question is, you buy a car like this, you keep it for, let's say, 6 years or something. It's like, you know, we don't know what the early reliability is. We don't know what the long-term reliability is. So it says powertrain. It comes with a V6, 365 horsepower, twin-turbo V6, which is pretty much, that should be the standard for any car, for any full-size large sedan. All full-size large sedans should come with a twin-turbo V6, and they should have an option for a V8. They should always have an option for a V8. So this thing says, let's see, pretty much everything is included. There really are no real options. That's pretty much how they sold the Equus. They sold the Equus in pretty much only like 2 trims. They sold the Ultimate trim, which had just about everything, and then they sold one that had a little bit less because the back seat package added like $10,000 or something. This one, from what I can see, doesn't have what is it called? Seats that rise up for your legs. This one doesn't have that. Caspian black, beige. Says transport as a truck. Yeah, okay. So pretty much it's very straightforward. All the information is pretty much there. It's a $71,550 car. You can also do the same control method right here. Yeah. Okay, so that's the back seat. So once again, you know, I'm being perfectly honest. Unless I'm slouching in this car, my head is pretty much going right through the roof. So, okay, roof in the back, I'm not that happy about. So let's go up to the front. The doors look great. I mean, all of these cars now have like almost the same generic trim cut. Now the Mercedes rises above all that with the S-Class, you know, because they have like the power sunshades. The BMW had the same thing. Like that new BMW 7, I have to say, that is a really, really nice car. Problem is that car costs like $40,000 more, so there's like fewer people who are going to be able to afford it. Okay, look at this. Look at all these buttons. So you know you got some serious adjustments right there. All right. When I was at the auto show, the New York International Auto Show, I pretty much saw the fully loaded version of this car, and I liked what I saw. It was nice. It's really nice. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna adjust it. I have to say, Hyundai, they're making these damn things really damn stylish. Very, very, very stylish. Looks very good. It's very, very good. So, gas tank, trunk, power trunk. What is that? Parking brake, full parking brake. StabiliTrak off. This one is lane avoidance or lane keeping. This one is side spot collision control. When it starts up, you barely hear anything. It's very, very quiet. You don't hear a damn thing. It's very, very ridiculously quiet. But I have to say, the size of that car, it's substantial. It's a very, very big, spacious car. And that's exactly what Cadillac and Lincoln should have been building in the first place. But the problem is, they just don't reach. This thing looks a lot like a Jaguar in many ways, if you really think about it. Why can't Lincoln and Cadillac, and I will say Cadillac did it, but why can't they reach that high? Why can't they be building that car? Why can't they be building the Equus and the K900 with those optional V8s? It's like they're not even trying anymore. This is what the interior looks like when it's a darker color. And in the darker color interior, you know, now you get a chance to see both of them, because the thing about it is they're having a release party, and the release party will allow you to see all the trims and compare all the trims. So they have the obviously the G80, the G90. They'll be bringing all the cars so you can see them all. Now, unfortunately, it's a rainy day out there, as you can see, so I wouldn't really want to have to take one of these cars out when it's raining, even though that would be a good test of the all-wheel drive system. But overall, as you can see, everything's pretty much good in order. You know, this is how they put the new heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheels here. It's funny that they put the steering wheel right here rather than putting it over here. But basically, I'm telling you, this is exactly the car that Lincoln and Cadillac should be building. Unfortunately, you know, Cadillac built that CT6, and the CT6, in my opinion, is already dated. I prefer the XT5, and the Lincoln Continental just isn't big enough. So you got the mirror controls right there. Pretty much it's all straightforward. You have 3 memory seat options. I don't know what 3 people would be driving this. I guess it's a mother, father, and a child or whatever. And it's very generic. It's very straightforward. This is what the back looks like. It's the same features, pretty much same features. It's a good looking car. So basically, it's actually kind of interesting. They did exactly what they should have done, and Lincoln should have done this, Cadillac should do this. They made the dashboard a sweeping dashboard, and they obviously have been learning their lessons from looking at what Mercedes is doing. They made the entire thing sweep across. It looks absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, this car comes with soft closing motors in the doors in order to ensure a tight seal, even if you softly close the door. I believe the first time I saw this feature was on a BMW 745 Li, or it was on a Mercedes S500, but I saw this feature many years ago. It's one of those things that you associate with a luxury car. Inside, what you find, the G90, as I already mentioned, has a beautiful sweeping dashboard. It has a pretty straightforward control scheme. There's no, fanciful graphics or anything. I mean, the graphics that are there are simple enough. The one major complaint that I have, and you already see it coming, is the fact that it doesn't have a touchscreen. I complain about the lack of a touchscreen simply because the Azera that I leased and the Genesis H-Track that I leased both had a touchscreen. Having a touchscreen is absolutely that should be a standard on any of these cars. I'm talking about Mercedes and BMW, because if you watch my Mercedes BMW comparison with the 7 Series and the S550, you know that I complained over and over and over that those cars didn't have a touchscreen. And you ask, well, why is that important? Well, if you've never used the command system before, you never tried to use one of these knobs before, you can learn it. It's just that when you're driving, especially if you're in traffic, it's so much easier to be able to simply reach up and touch the touchscreen. A touchscreen should be standard in any navigation infotainment system. All the other stuff is cute and everything, like the knobs and dials and touch pads and numpads. But the simple fact is, I don't use voice commands. I don't like using trackpads. I don't like using the dials that much. It was cool back in 2007 in that S-Class W221 that I had, and then the W222. But the problem is, after you use Chrysler's Uconnect system long enough, or you get used to using a touchpad, you want a touchpad. Now, what I can also say is that the interior is pretty gorgeous, especially if you don't harbor any ill will to cars based on their brand name. The lighting fixtures are lovely. I would say this car actually looks a lot like a Audi A8 because of the grille and the design of the front bumper. As you can see, they have the soft closed doors all around. It's a very substantial, large car. And, you know, it has plenty of space in the trunk. It has a large battery. It has what is it called? The spare tire. And they've pretty much done what they could to check all the boxes. There are boxes, however, that are unchecked. For instance, you can't get a panoramic roof yet. Also, there's no touchscreen for the entertainment system, which I think is a big letdown. Most likely, just like the Equus, you'll be able to get the reclining rear bench seat. But so far, it looks great. Like most of the other cars this size being offered on the market today, there's a V6 with twin turbos that offers more than 360 horsepower at full bore. A V8 option with all-wheel drive is available. And the reason why I'm doing this video like this is so I can split up the part where I show you a lot about the car, and then I can edit this part down and I can show you the test drive in the next part of this video. Overall, the G90 is a highly substantial car, $70,000, and it looks great.